everyone doing this morning? If you could just, while we're waiting for people to log in, if you could just add in the comments or in the chat what your business line of business is. Okay, it looks like everybody is shy this morning. Um, Part of the business, oh, there we go. Okay, here we go. I was gonna say, part of business strategy is networking. Thank you, Clifton. Thank you, Gwendolyn. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. So throughout the presentation, please feel free to put questions either in the chat or in the Q&A, and I will try to address them as we're going through the presentation, and then also at the end of the presentation, I will take questions as well. So I would start off by just introducing myself. My name is Ria Cotton, and I am the broker owner of Cotton Realty, and I'm also a member of the Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce. And I would like to thank the Chamber of Commerce for allowing me to present today for Small Business Week. And today we're talking about business strategy. So usually my conversations are around real estate because I'm a real estate broker, but it is great to present on business strategy because it basically allowed me to basically do an evaluation, which I do at the beginning of the year and I do quarterly. But I was like, let me go ahead and evaluate some of the things that are going on currently with the changes in the pandemic and opening back up. There's always different things in real estate and policies changing around how we do real estate with the changes during the pandemic. So can everyone see my screen? It says business strategy with the definition. If somebody could just comment and let me know that you are looking at the correct screen, I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, so business strategy. So the definition of business strategy is, it says business strategy can be understood as the course of action or set of decisions which assist the entrepreneurs in achieving specific business objectives. So business strategy is a choice. And it's a choice you make on how you run your business and what you want to accomplish. So if you want in the chat, just basically comment on some of the things that we're talking about as it relates to your business as we're going through the presentation. So as an overview of today's session, some of the things that we will discuss today as it pertains to business strategy is culture, strategic planning, doing an analysis of your business, evaluating your business, and the types of strategies and approaches that you can take in running your business. So before we get started in talking about those points, I wanted to give you an idea of how I run my business, because we're going to use my business as a kind of points or examples as we go through these topics of business strategy. So I own a real estate brokerage. It is a virtual real estate brokerage, meaning that one, we don't have the overhead of office expenses because we do not have a physical office. So what we do have are satellite co-working spaces where we can meet with our clients. So basically, I started this business with the idea of being in a virtual space where we do our buyer and seller consultations virtually online through Zoom. And this was before the pandemic. So it was very easy for me to transition or transition my business. It was more of transitioning the thought of the customers versus our business, and as well as the agents. So as I was bringing on agents, not every agent is tech savvy. Not every agent likes to be on social media or use technology, but that is the framework of which I've set up my business. And so fortunate enough for me, in the changes with the pandemic, it almost forced people to do what I set out to do initially with my business, which is conduct meetings online and educate online, as well as through social media. So this is my team. So I was established in 2018. Just a little bit about my background. I've been in real estate for over 16 years. I started in the mortgage industry. So started in mortgage in wholesale as a wholesale account executive. So I was working with larger brokerages and processing loans. And I also supported loan origination, underwriting, the people that approve your loans, as well as appraisal administration, which back when I started in real estate, we had the appraisal department as part of our company, which now is third-party companies. But I have a background in mortgage, loan origination, underwriting, and appraisal. I then switched over to real estate sales, so selling and representing buyers in real estate transactions on the opposite side of the spectrum, which I really love and enjoy. So I have about 4 agents and one starting. One is in training right now, actually, and one is studying for their test. So I have Lanice, which is in Solano County. Miana Epps is in, oh, it says, is that your mission below? I only can see the top. No, we're going to get to the mission. So this is just, let me see if I can enlarge it. This is just the company. So I'll go to the next slide, which will have the mission. So, oh, there we go. Make it a little bit bigger for you. Lanice is in Solano County. Miana is West Contra Costa. Claudia is in Oakland. Serena is in East Contra Costa, Antioch. Tashanique is in Richmond. So there are no territories within my company, but my plan is to expand throughout California virtually. And so in doing that, I started recruiting in various different areas around the Bay Area and plan to expand from there. Now, how does my office operate? I have a transaction coordinator that does all the paperwork for us, and they're actually an outsourced company called SkySlope. So I use them for a transaction coordinator. I'll talk about it a little bit later, but some part of the evaluation that I've done for my company is actually bringing that transaction coordinator in-house. And when we go over our presentation, I'll tell you why. I have a marketing coordinator who works remotely. Her name is Ari. She's a college student. And then I have Linda Nellis, who is my administrative assistant office manager. And she is actually outsourced through a company which is Black owned called the Startup Admin. So the Startup Admin basically provides you with 1099 administrative assistants, so you don't have them actually on your payroll. And you can basically change their hours. So one thing that I like about having my administrative assistants remotely and through a third party is because if I had a full-time, I kind of compared to having like a full-time administrative assistant who I'd give many different tasks to. And it is researched and proven that although someone works an 8-hour shift, they're not working those full 8 hours. And as a small business owner, I need all of those 8 hours used to its full potential. So instead of having one employee that works 8 hours, I have various different outsourced individuals that come in. They can come in on a project or have monthly assignments, and they are given tasks specific to my business. So where Linda is my overall admin, I may have someone that comes in specifically to clean up my emails, update my database. So this is something that I chose to do to make the most use of the time that I'm paying for because I'm a small business owner. I mentioned, so our services, we do residential real estate, commercial leases, and new development sales. I have satellite offices which are basically just co-working spaces in Berkeley, Richmond, and Oakland. For that, I just basically started those offices just basically because of the relationships that I was building in those particular cities, and then also encourage my agents to do the same in their areas so that if they do have a one-off where they need to meet with someone in person or do a workshop, they have a local co-working office in which to do so. And now co-working spaces are very common and located almost anywhere. They have even small mom and pop co-working spaces where people are making use of their commercial spaces and renting them out to other small businesses. So our mission, so the mission of Cotton Realty is to be necessary in the fabric of real estate transactions. Cotton Realty, the fabric of real estate, as well as active in community and economic development. And Cotton Realty is comprised of a virtual team working to expand across California. Virtual teams are commonplace thanks to today's technology, and regardless of the team member's location, we meet our team goals with effective use of web conferencing, and meetings for trainings, referral partnering, online collaboration of real estate marketing, market trends, and ultimately provide our clients with valuable service and leadership. So in my team covering Northern California, I don't have to necessarily drive to Sacramento if I have a Sacramento agent out there, or even if I did decide to drive to Sacramento, I have an agent out there who knows the area, knows the community, and we educate each other on what's going on in our particular areas, just like you can do with other businesses that are like yours in other areas, but I do it internally with my own. And so this is basically, it'll vary how you pay your employees, but I have a pretty competitive commission split. And that is because I am a small business opposed to a larger company. So I wanted to basically bring in value for the team members that I choose to have on my team. And I also provide training. So one thing that is a strength of mine, and you have to know about your strengths and weaknesses, which we'll discuss later, is that I've done many seminars and education seminars in mortgage regarding real estate for the last 16 years. So, so that is a strong point of mine that I feel is important in being competitive, is providing that training. Whereas with other larger real estate companies would take the agent's commission partially or charge them for training. So this is just a little bit about me. I already mentioned that I've been in mortgage previous to real estate. I'm also a realtist. So, and I am on the Women's Council of Associated Real Property Brokers, which is a national organization. So if you guys aren't aware, before African Americans were able to be realtors, we became realtists to start our own way of doing things ethically and sharing information within the real estate community. And so I'm a part of that national organization as the president of Women's Council for the Oakland, California chapter. My focus is, in addition to my brokerage, I specialize in new construction. I work closely with developers, and I am proud to be the recipient of the 2020 Entrepreneur Award for the Powerful East Bay Women of the Bay. Our market, so we are very community based, and so we have various different housing communities that we're working to build, if we haven't already, and expand on. Because we are community based, it's very important for us to be involved in intricate part of the community and associations that deal with housing and housing in the community. Because we're online, I make sure that I have a platform where we can do daily pipeline management of our deals, weekly sales reports, weekly virtual workshops. For our marketing, we do, again, online workshops, print marketing, where we're mailing to our communities of which we do business. And one of the things that I do as far as collaborating with the community is I'm currently highlighting businesses in areas of which we do business. So you'll see, if you're part of the Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce, I also have a YouTube channel, and my YouTube videos are posted throughout the Oakland African American Chamber newsletters recently. So again, quickly, we have a website, we have a contact database service that allows us to process how often we are in contact with potential clients and keeping in touch with them. We have a listing appointment center that helps us with setting up our listings so that I don't have to have an office person in the office setting up listings to show my listings. There's a company that does that. So as you can see, I do a lot of outsourcing of my processes because I went in with the exit plan in mind. And that's kind of like my motto, is to enter with the exit plan in mind. Although I'm a small business, I wanted to set up my company with a corporate mindset. So instead of trying to grow my systems and processes as I grow the number of agents that I have, instead I start with the big picture in mind and then effectively put things in place so that my agents can grow without me having to stress off of, oh, my production is uncontrollable. No, I have systems in place in order to address that. And then also training. So it's important, even with a small business, that you have some type of training put in place so that even if you're not in real estate, if somebody is doing or replacing you as a manager, you have some type of training in place and retention tools in order to keep your company running. And so for me, as a real estate broker, I use, again, an outsourced third party called The Locker Room. And The Locker Room provides training and retention tools and self-paced training tools that I can track online that my agents would go through. So now let's get back to business strategy. So I wanted to be really interactive. So if you could chime in, that would be great. So the business strategy starts off with culture. So how people behave with each other, how people behave with customers, your company values, as well as supporting your employees. So can you share in the chat just something that some of your values for your company? Tell me what your company is and what your values are. I know for myself, as you guys are typing in the chat, how people behave with others. Now, we are virtually online. And so because we're online, I do have weekly meetings. So my agents are independent contractors, so they can choose to come on the meetings, but I'll have a Monday night session. We call it Money Making Mondays, where we get online and we share information with each other about what's going on in our market, what we're seeing as far as the housing market in different markets, because there, even though it's all kind of crazy right now, it's all a little bit different in each county or city. So that's how I have groomed my agents to work with one another. It's online meeting. We don't have to have an in-person meeting where we're coming in and meeting in an office setting. So they are comfortable with that. So it says, Gwendolyn says, active listening is an important value to our business. Okay. What is your business, Gwendolyn? Let me see if you put it in earlier. Active listening. Oh, okay. So Gwendolyn has a business, and it is communication relieves isolation, and her focus is reducing social isolation among seniors. That's awesome. So I could imagine that when it comes to listening, you are talking about what the seniors need and what they need to be supported and to have a fruitful life is what I'm assuming. You can elaborate in the chat and I'll read it for the group. Absolutely. Okay, that's what I figured. So that's awesome. So yeah, that is very important to be a good listener, especially working with the senior community, because they may not willingly just come out and admit that they may be lonely, that they have some needs that need to be addressed, and they may say it in a roundabout way. So that's very important to have that value. So anybody else want to chime in, feel free to go ahead. So your vision. So vision is where the organization wants to go in the future. So clearly with my vision being online, my vision in the future is to have this online platform be easily expanded throughout California. And so that is what I see for my long-term vision. Okay, and Gwendolyn said that social isolation is real and has intensified during COVID, definitely. And not just with seniors, I mean, with people that are just not normally used to, very social people are having a very, very hard time with isolation during the pandemic because they're used to being out and about and always talking to people. So it's really hard for people that like being social. Thank you for adding. So strategic planning, the vision, where do you intend to be in the future? I just mentioned that. So that's something you want to think about and you can share in the chat. Where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? And how to get there. And so how do you get there is with a business plan. So as far as my business is concerned, I do personal production in addition to supporting my agents. Where I see myself in the future is basically supporting the agents and having multiple agents to where I don't have to focus on personal production anymore. So that's a transition that I like to take. And then from there, and just being in real estate and investing in real estate, the next plan after that would be to actually retire and have somebody in my place to manage and manage the business online for the agents and actually build off of and live off of my retirement from investment properties and from my business. Another way to get there is to network, which you're doing today with the Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce, and working with people who look like you and people who don't look like you is all part of just building your business. So the Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce has definitely been instrumental in my business in exploring different avenues of which they can support my business. And I really appreciate them for supporting my business. Just the newsletters alone are awesome. Always finding great information for my business on the newsletters. And also researching your business will help in how other people are doing business, and not necessarily how other people are doing business to copy them, but to figure out how you will differentiate yourself from the competition. So then you want to, another part of business strategy is doing an analysis of your business. So do you know what your strengths are? I happen to know that with real estate, my strength was in educating, because that's what I did in mortgage. So a lot of my business practices and building my customer base is around spending a lot of time in consultation and educating my clients regarding the mortgage and the real estate process. I know that that differentiates me from the competition because not many real estate agents have a mortgage background, and some are kind of shy. So I use that as a strength. And then we have our weaknesses. And so in our weaknesses, I've found through my analysis that that with my organization, I have to stay very, until I grow to have a bigger support team, very strategic in the avenues of which I do business. So I may not want to go quickly into, let's say, commercial sales. One, because my insurance will go up and it's a different platform, it's a different client base. The weakness in starting my business was I was trying to do everything. I'm gonna start a property, I'm gonna look into property management, I'm going to do commercial, I'm going to do residential. It was just too many things going on at once while I was trying to start my business. And then opportunities. What market opportunities might there be for the organization? So for marketing opportunities, I definitely rely heavily on social media advertising, especially since we're an online platform. And having a marketing person that I have part-time, I create the marketing vision and then she executes. So that is definitely an opportunity that a lot of businesses can take in seeing how the social media and online world can grow. And even with, let's use Gwendolyn as an example, she mentioned her company. An opportunity may be some type of group class where she teaches seniors how to get on Zoom, how to use their FaceTime to communicate with their loved ones. I know that during the pandemic, for example, my grandmother was devastated that she could not go to bingo. And so we had to teach her how to do bingo online. So that's an opportunity there for Gwendolyn to basically market her business. And then exactly, we're creating a senior house. Oh, great, awesome. So Georgia mentioned growth, relationships, authenticity, compassion, empowerment, service. And Georgia is also in real estate. And I know that compassion, I know that firsthand from knowing Georgia. So that is definitely one of her strengths in real estate. And so real estate can be a scary thing for a lot of people. So it really helps to have that compassion that everybody doesn't have in order to encourage home ownership, especially in the African American community, where our home ownership rates are at an all-time low. So you want to keep people motivated, empowered, educated, and enthusiastic about their possibilities of home ownership, even through rough times where they can't always start at the level that they'd like to start at. Also, we want to think about threats. So threats are where might the threats come from? Let's see, once the direction is identified, let's see, where may future success come from? So threats, what are some of, I'll let you guys chime in, but what do you think would be some of the threats to your business? I know with me, some of the threats to my business was in recruiting. I know bringing on agents, I have to be sure that they can really work independently. So I know that my brokerage is a brokerage where I need to hire agents that are very independent. Although we socialize, we meet, we train, there are some people that like that social interaction daily in an office setting, and that is not provided here. So that type of person, or there may be people that are scared to present online, or they don't like to see themselves online or do videos, and they're not that open to do things of that nature to promote themselves, then this might not be the best place for them, because we do and we encourage that a lot. We don't discourage other avenues of which people do business, because some people have other business strategies and ideas that work for them, but they may struggle a little in this platform that I have. So that's something that I had to be aware of. So start thinking about that as far as some of the threats to your business. Another threat to my business would be the larger corporations. So larger corporations may see that I have an agent that is doing fairly well, and they may try to actively recruit them. And so one thing that I do to address that is to make sure that although I'm a small business, I basically run my business in a corporate-like setting. So as far as the training and the mentoring, it's there. As far as the marketing and advertising, I actually do the marketing and advertising for my agents, which they will not get from a larger organization without paying a hefty fee. So I'm always looking at what the competition is doing so that I can basically retain. And also, I shared with you, I have the locker room training, and for me, it's coaching myself on retention and retaining my employees and my staff and my customers, for that matter. Okay, so evaluation. So what was the strategy successful? So basically, looking at my strategy of how I do business and determining, was I successful in 2020 and how will I go forward in 2021? The first thing I do is look at if my sales goals were met. So one thing that I saw in 2020 is my sales goals were met as far as what we were looking to accomplish financially. But as far as growth, I did not grow my team. I plan to grow up to 10 agents by the end of 2020. And so I did not. And so what I found in that is that I may have to, again, outsource a recruiting agency that recruits for agents in order to identify those agents that may be a good fit for my company. How is your business perceived externally? So can anybody just share with me what your goals were for 2020? You can share in the chat maybe what your goals were and if you were able to accomplish them. One thing that I have to say about the pandemic is it was hard for a lot of people to accomplish their goals in 2020 because of the pandemic. Fortunately enough, because I was already online doing Zoom consultations, virtual tours, and things of that nature, there was really nothing for me to do as far as pivoting my business. It was basically helping my business because it was forcing my customers and my customer base and maybe even agents that were working for me, it forced them to conform to my way of doing business. So in that case, it basically was helpful. And my business is perceived as something virtual, and it takes a lot of education because people don't really know what that is. It's like, okay, am I never going to see the house? Are there tours of the house? Do I have to put in an offer and not see what's going on with the house? So I do seminars where I educate people on what that process looks like, because you can actually see a house, but the most important thing in seeing the house is what the reports are and the disclosures. So we spent a little more time looking at reports and disclosures of properties before actually looking at the property itself, because that's what's important and what is the focus for especially first-time home buyers, is the condition of the property and the cost to address any future issues. What needs, you want to evaluate what needs improvement. So I mentioned before that for the recruiting piece, I think I need improvement on that, because that was basically ignored. It says what was ignored. I brought on an admin. So a lot of the administrative duties initially I was doing myself, and then I did an outsource because I didn't want to pay for a full-time employee. So I looked at an outsourcing company to improve how I do business and following up on with my clients, setting appointments, things of that nature. I introduced that admin in order to improve the way I do business. So Asada says, my goal was to get established and licensed in 2020, but both goals both goals were met while spending time on my business needs during this crazy pandemic. Congratulations. And so, so you're just getting started, which is awesome. And I think with the pandemic, what we saw was a lot of people were able to have time to actually set goals for themselves for businesses that or activities, hobbies, or new things, changing careers that they may have put off. The pandemic gave them time to really focus on that. Asada, can you tell us what your business is? Let's see if you, oh, okay, cannabis manufacturing. I see it, Illumina company, cannabis manufacturing. Okay, great. So, so that is a very growing industry, cannabis is, and I'm pretty sure that the need for it grew with all the anxiety of our crazy, the times that we're in currently. So, so that's awesome. And then did you share, if you want to share, everybody share their links to their businesses in the chat, and you included your email address. So that's awesome. And not everybody has websites these days. A lot of the new businesses that I'm seeing, they actually have just Instagram and Facebook social media pages, because you can sell off of those pages. So they're not always just having a website. Okay. Okay. Working on a website. Okay. And Ariana, we have essenceofflowers.com. Thank you for sharing. So now we're going to go over the types of strategies that you can use in setting your business. Just get. So there are several different strategies. When I look at these, there's just, I mean, I feel like it's not just one. You can do, there's a multitude of ways you can basically take these strategies and use them for your business. DelisaPortia.com. Okay, thank you, Delisa. Do you have, what is your company? What type of company do you have? If you can include it in the chat. Thank you. So types of strategies. So first one is a competitive advantage. So something which gives the organization some advantage over its rivals. Okay. So for my competitive advantage, I basically provide personalized marketing for my agents. So when you come to when you usually go to a real estate company, you have to basically seek out or set up or pay for your marketing that is personalized to you. And so what I do that's different is I ask my agent, who do you want to be? What do you want to display as a real estate person in your community? If you are passionate about landscaping, then we can incorporate that into your business plan in real estate. If you are passionate about family, all of those things, I take time to actually help brand not myself and my company, but brand my agent to be who they want to be in their community. And that is what, that is again, differentiating myself from the competition. So Georgia has a late comment. It says, tech companies have entered what used to be a self-contained industry, MLS data, and she's talking about how you find properties in real estate on the internet. Real estate data is now readily available virtually. Agents have to continue to stay on top of technology and understand how to use technology to their advantage as you have. If you're an old school agent and not tech savvy, hire an assistant who is tech savvy. Correct. So for me, a lot of people are say, oh, I'm not that tech savvy. Well, in addition to, I just mentioned my competitive advantage, I have a marketing assistant. So my marketing assistant actually can log on, go to your social media accounts. There are programs that actually preset your social media to go out at times that you want them to go out. So she goes in and sets that up for my non-tech savvy agents. So they don't even have to worry about learning that process because it's already done for them. And because I've provided an avenue for them to already have that done for them, they're less likely to leave me for a larger company that's not going to do that for them because they're getting a good commission split and they don't have to worry about marketing and advertising. They can go out and sell. So Delisa is a realtor. So welcome, Delisa. So she included her website in the chat. Thank you for sharing your business. So the next is cost advantage. So cost advantage is a strategy to seek out and secure a cost advantage of some kind. Lower average cost, lower labor cost. So basically, that's part of the research that we talked about earlier, is researching your competition to differentiate yourself. So you may have specials. Just to give you an example of in real estate, you basically can vary on the commission that you charge. So maybe if everyone in my market is charging 3% to list a house, I may say, well, I'll charge 3% and provide staging, or I'll do 3% and you don't have to pay for marketing. So there's various different ways of which you can look into being an advantage when it comes to cost, but it takes time to research your individual business. And let's see, let's go back to, who was it that had the cannabis company? Asada. Did you research? You can put in the chat. Did you research what the price points were going to be for your business and how you set your price? Add in the chat how you decided your price points for your business. The next is market dominance. So market dominance is achieved through internal growth, acquisitions, mergers, and takeovers. So for instance, you may have a business similar to yours that has been around for a while, but they're kind of fading out. You may want to see about acquiring their customer base, because their customer base may be drying out because they're not being creative and innovative, and you can basically pay for maybe not necessarily their business, but their customer base. In real estate, we call it referral partnering. So there are real estate agents that are retired and they don't want to go through the trouble of listing homes or showing buyers around, but they still want to make money from their customers. So in that case, I would partner with a seasoned broker, or and basically give them a percentage of the commission for being able to market their customer database. The next one, new products. So to keep ahead of rivals and set the pace. So new products, that's all part of reinventing yourselves. And so you may have one product. I was previously a serial entrepreneur, so I used to do these subscription boxes. And when I started with the subscription boxes, I wanted to do one for every month of the year. And then I was like, well, that's a lot of work, because it was a hobby of mine. It wasn't my full-time thing. It was just something I enjoyed doing. And so for the subscription boxes, I spent all this time trying to figure out and think of different ways to have a theme for each month of the year. So instead, I started off with one subscription box and thought, okay, after this subscription box gets popular, then I will introduce new products as I go along. And so it will basically make it an exciting venture, and for my customers, something new to see what I would have to come out next. So that's something that you may want to consider in your business. If you have a lot of different marketing ideas, and especially if you don't know which of your products is going to be the best seller out of all of them available, you want to maybe really focus on that one product that you think is your ideal customer product, and then introduce other products as you go along throughout your evaluation and your analysis of your business. And so it's how to say, yes, my first product is not as popular in the market. This gives us the opportunity to price based on our cost and fair markup for distributors. Okay, so do you mean popular in the market as in you are unique in that product? Or it is something that is not favorable in maybe the city of which you're doing business. So you're doing you're distributing it to other markets. So if you want to expand on that in the chat, you can. Okay. And so, okay, one of Georgia's ultimate goals is to move into retirement as a referral only independent broker. And that's awesome too. So, Georgia has been in the real estate business for a very long time. So I know that she has a very large customer base and that could be profitable for her, definitely. And what I said in the beginning is to enter with your exit plan in mind. So you want to go into your business with your retirement goal, especially being a small business and not a corporation. You can work with financial planners to set up your retirement plan, but you also want to start off with creating the exit plan for your business on how are you going to peacefully and stress-free retire out of the business that you're currently doing. And it's best to start in thinking about that going into the business versus when you're actually ready to retire. Okay, so we're going to go over some other types of business strategy. So contraction, expansion, focus on what you're good at or seek to expand into a range of markets. So for me, I basically mentioned that I'm working to be for my brokerage to expand across California. So my expansion is going to be gradual. So I'm going county by county out of my home county of Alameda County. I'm strategically recruiting in the surrounding counties, and then I'm just going to continue that that expansion county by county, reaching out until I've reached to the from Northern California to Southern California. Okay, so Asada has something unique. So she has a cannabis infused olive oil that isn't commonly found in dispensaries. So, oh, that sounds good. The next business strategy, types of strategy that is discussed is re-engineering. So re-engineering has to do a lot with the evaluation. So looking at basically how you're doing business and basically how you can restructure that business. Price leadership, we kind of talked about that with new products and cost advantage. Global, so how you can not only expand your business into other maybe states or markets, but distribution. So one thing that Asana mentioned is distribution, and that is basically how you could look at expanding your business globally. How can you partner with larger companies? What other companies that are similar to yours need your product, but they don't have it's not making business sense. It might not make business sense for a company to basically create this infused olive oil that Asada has, but it may make business sense to incorporate Asada's business as a part of their business in order to provide that product. So basically looking at distribution or where she can put the products. So now that the cannabis industry is much more accepted, she could look at a particular type of store that would support her products. And so it's just like with a hair salon. You have a hair salon, and over time you have different people that create hair products asking to sell products out of the hair salon. You have purses, earrings. You could pretty much, go shopping like you're at the mall at some of these hair salons. So that's just an example of small business distribution. And then there's downsizing, delayering. So do you have too many people running your business and you need to change your structure? And then downsize and restructuring. So I mentioned earlier how outsourcing was key and that I'm virtual. I had to restructure. I went into my business, you guys, knowing that I wanted to be a virtual business. And I still, when I first transitioned as a broker, got an office. It was not part of the plan. It had nothing to do with my business model. I just saw the office and got excited and had this office, and then realized that, hey, none of my agents are going to come to my office because they're in different counties. Why do I even have this office space? So it took some restructuring and some emotional let go to let my office go, but I had to be in creative. So what I did is I took my office space and created a co-working space, and each office was was used by a small business. So I had, you had a nonprofit youth program in there. I had an esthetician in there. And then over time, it became an office of mostly different types of therapists in that office. And so yeah, so basically restructuring, and it's good to do an analyst and evaluation, because after I did my evaluation, I was like, there is no reason for me to have this office space. It didn't even make sense. I just was getting a little too excited starting my new business. So that had to go. And so that basically saved me some money there, even though I had other businesses that paid rent to have the offices. There's still maintenance. I have to check, somebody gets locked out, the bathroom needs to be stocked, the kitchen. That was not the business that I was going into. So I had to do some restructuring to get away from that office space. So what are the next steps? So the next steps for you would be to create your business strategy if you haven't done so already, or review it. And I personally review my business strategy quarterly now. So what I've seen is that one thing that was important for me when I looked at the end of the year, I looked at my production for 2020 and I saw a cycle. It wasn't the same every single month. There were points in the time where business was higher than others. And so for now, I can, going into 2021, I can basically set my budget and my expectations and how I do business based off of those cycles in real estate. And so I know that when I had the down times in 2020, the down months are the months that I'm going to have to do a little more advertising, a little more work than I'm usually doing, because I know that downtime is coming, and just so that I can basically work to keep a consistent amount of income coming into the business and it not going extremely up and down. And then I'm budgeting through it. So because I'm budgeting through the ups and downs, it's best for me to reevaluate things quarterly to see where I am budget wise and where I am business wise, and then prepare accordingly for quarter two. I want to basically hear some more from you guys. So this is the question and answer portion of the session. So if you have any questions, comments, let's start off with something a takeaway. Can you guys give me any takeaways that you have from today's session? I know it was just an hour, and so it went really quickly, but hopefully you guys were able to take something away from this session to use in your business. So if you do, or you have any questions, please add them in the chat right now. And I just want to again end thanking the Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce for giving me this platform to share my business strategy with you all, and actually taking me out of my comfort zone. Again, I said usually my seminars and my talks are around real estate and not necessarily my business. So I am honored that they have allowed me to share my business strategy with you all. And if you have any comments, I'm always open to it. I had my QR code here, so you can scan you can take your cell phones and open your cameras. So you open your camera up, and then you just scan with your camera that QR code that you see online, and that QR code will take you directly. It'll pop up with a little link at the top, and you click on that and it will take you straight to my company website. So, okay, so Asada said the importance of outsourcing independent contractors. So thank you for that. Yes, that is definitely a benefit for small businesses. I'm going to consider outsourcing some of my activities to take some things off my plate. Great, Georgia. What was the name of the company you use again? I want someone to enter my expenses. Okay, so it's called the startupadmin.com. I'll put it in the chat. It is a African-American owned company. So there's other companies, Zirtual with a Z, which is a virtual assistance company. And so they have hourly rates, hourly packages. Um, and then they have other companies like the Startup Admin, which have blocks of time that you can go into contract with an admin. And so, and then basically you want to keep in mind if you want to expand in the future. So I have a part-time admin, but it's important for me to know like what other place she's working at, what her commitment is, so that she can actually grow with my business. And then I actually mentioned I'm using an outsourced third party for transaction management company. But you're always reevaluating your business, right? And so for me, when people are signing paperwork, I want them to understand the paperwork and have it as an experience. So there is a new platform that I'm implementing in my business where we are doing more of a customer service experience as they're going through the process, not even with just the agent, but we're doing video clips and walkthroughs of documents and paperwork to basically help educate people so that it can take it off one less thing off the agent's plate and feeling of our customers being comfortable in the process. So with that in mind, I'm looking to again outsource a, a person in my family actually that can do my transaction management. But I'm not just bringing her in to do my transaction management. I'm also teaching her how this can be a lucrative business. And so if she wanted to start her own business as a transaction manager herself, not only will I help her learn how to support my company, but also teach her how she can expand and offer this service to other companies as well and create a business out of it and grow from it. So it's all about, creating opportunities and creating community for the people that you do business with and supporting them, because it always comes back to you tenfold. So thank you all again. If there's no other questions or comments or takeaways, thank you all again. It's 12:03, so we're 3 minutes after the hour. Thank you all for joining, and I look forward. Thank you for your time and shift. Thank you. Thank you for being here. I look forward to seeing you guys at future chamber events when we all are back together again. So have a great week.